Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today. Before we begin our presentation, we'd just like to introduce our team, Movies with Mates, and tell you why we came to School of Code Bootcamp. So first of all, I'm Pete. I was a product designer in London, designing kitchens and interiors. I came to the School of Code Bootcamp to pursue a different interest of mine, that's learning to code. Hopefully I can use my design knowledge and newfound coding skills to help solve real-world problems.
Hey everyone, my name's Lee. So before the bootcamp, I was studying for a maths degree at the University of Birmingham. On graduating, I realised that not many people care that I can recite 200-year-old theorems, so I tried to find something to do that paired all the good parts of my degree, so the logic and the problem solving, with something that I think is more worthwhile, like coding.
Hi everybody, I'm Morgan. Before the School of Code Bootcamp, I was representing Great Britain playing water polo at the World Student Games. At the start of the bootcamp, I was finishing my Masters in Translation just up the road at Birmingham University. That's actually where I came across the School of Code in a consultancy challenge at the university, and I saw it as a really good stepping stone into the professional world and hopefully the tech industry.
And I'm Jennifer. I'm a geologist, and for 4 years I've been working in research and development before I decided to come to the UK to pursue a master's in applied GIS. While studying GIS, I was made to understand that in order to make my maps interactive and more dynamic, I needed to learn a bit of code. And that was one of the main reasons that made me to apply for School of Code.
And the four of us together are Movies with Mates. So we've begun our project by understanding the problem at hand, social exclusion. Now, social exclusion is becoming an increasingly evident issue in today's society, but not enough is being done to solve the problem.
So why is social exclusion a problem? The American Psychology Association said that loneliness and social isolation may represent a greater public health hazard than obesity. Its impact has been growing and will continue to grow. So we looked into some of the health effects that loneliness can have, and some of the things we found were shocking. Like, did you know that one study found that loneliness and lack of social connection could be as detrimental to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day? Another study found that loneliness increases the likelihood of mortality by 26%. Even today, conveniently in the news, we elected a minister of loneliness. So, we think something needs to be done about this. And we're in the perfect place. Birmingham is this huge, diverse city. Why not bring more of its people together over a shared interest?
So how can we solve this problem? Well, similar to every task, we do it one step at a time. We dove deeper into the underlying issue, found that many people don't like going to the cinema alone, and often struggle to find people to go with. So we decided to create a mobile-first responsive web app to combat social exclusion in Birmingham.
Movies with Mates. Create spontaneous, personalized movie events and connect with real people at cinemas in Birmingham.
Real people.
Real films.
Real fun.
So let's get into it. It's that time again. It's demo time. For the sake of our demo, we're going to have to ask you to indulge us a little bit, have a little bit of fun, and get those imaginations working. So to begin, I'd like to start by introducing a very close friend of mine. Meet Pete. Product designer and coder by day, film nut by night. Pete lives in a smart one-man flat in the centre of Birmingham and works for his own product design company. Pete's into horror movies, and I mean really into horror movies.
Ooh.
Pete's been chatting to a mate who is equally obsessed with the world of gore and gruesomeness, and the hype for the new Insidious movie that has just come out is hard to contain. Because of his job, however, Pete often starts work early and finishes late. Not really ideal for catching a scary flick at your local cinema with your pals. So he's talking to his mate, and his mate asks, "Yo, Pete, have you heard about Movies with Mates?" Pete hasn't, and so his mate fills him in. Movies with Mates is a mobile phone web app where strangers can connect and organise to meet up and go and see a movie together. Pete ends the conversation and is left thinking just how well-informed his friend really is. Curious and excited about his next horror fix, Pete loads up the app. He logs in via his secure Facebook-authorised username and password. Arriving at his profile page, Pete decides to search the app to see if any other fiendish fanatics are watching the new Insidious movie in Birmingham City Centre tomorrow evening. He checks out the instructions and after a moment searches for Insidious in the search bar. What is this? A movie event ticket? By Lee? Cool. Lee has posted a movie event this afternoon at the Odeon on New Street. And it's the new Insidious film. Ah, shucks, thinks Pete. He has to work this afternoon to tidy up his latest project. So he scrolls back up to the top of the movie ticket page and decides to take the initiative and create his own movie event ticket. He's free tomorrow evening, and he loves the popcorn at the Odeon. He selects the 10 to 7 p.m. showing of Insidious, and feeling a little bit more than excited, he creates the event.
Bloop, bloop.
What's that? Pete looks in his pocket. It looks like he's received an email confirmation from MWM for his movie event ticket. Oh yeah, thinks Pete. Meet Jen. Jen is an MWM regular and has got over 10 movie meetups under her belt. She has just finished a big project on her university course and is looking to blow off some steam. Jen's hobby of choice, no you haven't guessed it, is to go to the movies and jump, squeal and shriek her way through as many of the latest horror films as her time and wallet will allow. Jen sees Pete's movie event and clicks attending. She pings him a message.
Ping.
As the clock ticks down, Pete checks his activity feed to see if he's got any notifications. Pete clicks on the notification from Jen, and after being taken to his movie ticket chat, he replies. Jen agrees, and the stage is set. Pete logs out, and feeling suitably pumped for his mini-movie adventure, goes about finishing his final project.
Okay, so I hope you all enjoyed that, everyone. We definitely did. So I'm just going to highlight a few features for you now you've seen how to use the app. So if Pete doesn't mind logging back in and navigating to the page where users can create a cinema event. So these listings that you're seeing in front of us are real showings for the Odeon on New Street and the Cineworld in 5 ways. So we are tapping into an API here and dynamically showing you the information. It was a decision we made as a team to only show these 2 local Birmingham cinemas just for the purposes of this demonstration. But going forwards, thinking about the future, we could utilize JavaScript's geolocation API, check where the user is, and fire off a request for cinemas in a certain radius, and then we're looking at an app that's scalable outside of Birmingham. Another thing we'd like to show you is the going page. So when we were looking at competitor apps, they all had similar features to this, and we just think this is a nice user experience to have a quick and easy way to see the events you've committed to going to. And the last 2 things we'd like to show you are our You're Not Logged In page and our error page. So if Pete doesn't mind logging out of the app really quickly and trying to navigate back to the movies route, we'll get taken to a page that says, "You're not logged in, and let's get out of here." And we're redirected back to the home page. And we also think it's a good user experience if for any reason we're having technical difficulties or the server crashes, the user deserves a reason for that, so why they can't use the app rather than being met with a blank screen. So we've designed a page that if the server crashes for any reason, we'll get this page and we're redirected back to the home page. Yeah, cool. So now you've seen what we've built.
Now we'll show you how we got there. So we started off the project with a market research. Following that, we went on to the project planning. And then we spent the majority of our time in the development phase coding up our concept. Of course, here we are today at the demo day.
So what exactly did we do for our market research?
Well, I'm glad you asked. For our primary research, we conducted a simple online survey. Of the 80 people that responded, over 3/4 said that they like to go to cinema with friends, and no one said they like to go alone. Also, over 70% said they like meeting new people.
As part of our secondary research, we thought it wise to go and search for possible competition in the market today. And we narrowed it down to these 3. Meetup. With the Meetup app, it organizes lots of events around a person's local and regional area. But with Movies with Mates, we decided to narrow it down to a single location on the social media platform. Nerify comes in second, but majorly because of its stage in development. With Movies with Mates, we decided to make all meetings to be strictly platonic, which Tinder does. Moving on to the planning phase. So since we had a lot of ideas in our heads, we thought it wise to have a sit down and brainstorm through them. With this, we decided to go with the Disney ideation process. With the Disney ideation process, we started with the Dreamer stage. With this stage, we were allowed to fantasize, no boundaries set, just think of all the amazing things we wanted our app to have. Next, we went down to the realist stage. The realist stage, we tried to narrow it down to more achievable functionalities since we had fairly a short amount of time to create this app. On the critic stage, we constructively criticized the different functionalities that we thought best should be on the app. At this stage, we also developed our MVPs, our minimum viable products, and we also decided to have a stretch goal. This included having third-party APIs, email verification, and also including a geolocator on the app.
So after we'd finished with the Disney ideation phase, we moved on to our 3-phase wireframing process. The first stage of our wireframing process involved whiteboard sketches and pretty basic illustrations to get all the ideas that are going around in our head down onto paper so we can start to see what the app will look like as it takes form. Something that we were really, really careful on here, and we made a really key point, was about the user experience, because the better the experience is for the user, the more likely they are to use it, and the more likely they are to tell their friends about it, and that works as advertising for us as well. When it came to the second stage of our wireframing process, we used a program called Balsamiq to help us digitize those images and those illustrations. And as you can see, this was super helpful for us in terms of visualizing what the app was actually going to look like and what our code was going to be aiming for.
And the final stage of wireframing was implementing our brand colors and style so that we had a better picture of our final vision. After playing around with a few different colors, we decided to go with the color red as our brand color. And the main reason being that when we asked the 80 people that responded to our survey, what's the first color that comes to mind when we mention the words cinemas and movies? Over 80% said the color red.
Okay, so I'm just going to briefly run you through the tech. We are running an Express server on a Node.js backend, and we have a Mongo database set up, which we are hosting on MLab. We chose MLab partly because it was cloud-based, and partly for scalability reasons. So this database is set up in such a way that it'll easily account for the millions of users that we expect to have. And then on the front end, we are using React. So React is known for its ability to deal with data efficiently, and in particular data that's dynamic. And going forward and thinking about scalability again, we have the potential for lots of different streams of data coming into this app needing to be dealt with, making React the perfect choice. We also handle Facebook authentication on the front end, and we've written out prop types for each component to allow for well-documented code.
And we decided to use Google's material design because it's a visual language that synthesizes the classic principles of good design with the innovation and possibility of technology and science.
So just over 4 months ago, the 4 people that you see standing in front of you today had coding experience ranging from extremely minor to totally non-existent. In terms of turning our concept into reality, we had to really balance out our ambitions into what we wanted to be able to create and what was realistic to create in the 20 working days that we had to work on this project. Creating production quality code in 20 days for people with 4 months experience is always going to be a challenge. But what we do feel like we've created is a really solid foundation so that for any software developers who may be interested in taking this on in the future, they've got a really solid base to work from. With the 4 of us, you get 4 different aesthetics and 4 different styles, and you get 4 different ideas about how things should look. Obviously, this meant that discussions were increasingly lively. But what we've ended up with is a UX and a style that we're really happy with. As for the brand, Jennifer mentioned it a little bit earlier, we really wanted to avoid any Tinder-esque connotations with our apps, movies with mates, not for dates. And we really think we've achieved that in the app that we've created.
So since this is a huge project for us, we needed to manage it somehow. So we first took an agile approach to it, where we had daily stand-ups discussing our issues, problems encountered, and generally how the app would go. We then used Git version. We hosted our project on GitHub. For our MVPs, we made sure to make each MVP a milestone, and then we further went on to break it into smaller manageable chunks and created issues out of it. In order to track our project progress, we decided to use Waffle. Waffle is an online project management tool which is integrated with GitHub, and you'd be able to track your progress in real time, as you can see on this Kanban board display here. With Waffle, it also gives you an option whereby you can see how far you're moving along in the form of a burn-down graph. This was especially useful to us because then we would be able to see the level of progress we're taking with our project. And so far, I say it made our project to move smoothly.
We are Movies with Mates. Thank you for listening.